Hello and welcome back to the Two Fairs Boxing Show, episode 9. And as always, it's been a fantastic weekend of boxing. Really heating up as summer comes along. I think it's going to lead very nicely into Eddie Hearn's Fight Camp version 2. So yeah, very much looking forward to it. I think the biggest, especially UK side anyway, it was Lewis Ritson's fight with Jeremias Ponce. I feel like a lot of people didn't really see that coming. A lot of people writing Ponce off, myself included, didn't know much about the guy, didn't really know what he was going to bring to the table. And yeah, just pretty much finished watching the fight, to be fair. Was very busy on the actual evening of the fight, so I've only just gotten around to having a look at it. But yeah, I mean, Lewis Ritson showed a lot of heart, and I think it's also good to start that it was a brilliant fight. Showed some improvements from the Miguel Vazquez fight, but Ponce just too big. That's just what I noticed. Just way too big, and did not let his foot off the gas when he was just throwing shots at Wills. Was just let his hands go, and it was really beneficial to him. Really worked in his favour. Ritson just slowly started to run out of answers. So yeah, congratulations to Ponce. What a win, really, against one of Lewis Ritson. I think it's a couple of years ago now, when he was down at lightweight, was considered as one of the next top dogs of the division. One of the next biggest fighters to come from British shores. So I just don't know how good Ponce is, but from the other night, I think he looked really good. He's got that fight lined up now against Josh Taylor as the undisputed champ. Obviously, you've also got Jack Catterall. I feel like Josh Taylor will look for potentially one more fight at super lightweight and then move up, and then all the belts will be spread. So Ponce could be in a very good position to just kind of wait around and fight for a vacant title. I wouldn't fancy his chances against someone like Josh Taylor. I just think Josh Taylor's just too good. Really is coming on as one of the next sort of pound for pound stars. Probably do put him up there as well as definitely pound for pound top 10. Haven't done a pound for pound list in a very long time. But yeah, so I don't know what will come next for Ponce. I mean, who the hell can he fight for the vacant title if he was just in the final eliminator? Regis Prograis. It's just a difficult one. I really don't know. It's hard going off of one performance where this guy is going to go next. But plenty of good fights in the 140 pound division. And I think Regis Prograis will, if he does decide to stay at 140 pounds, I feel like he's next in line for the throne. Can definitely cause a lot of guys a lot of problems in the 140 pound division. But congratulations to Ponce. We'll obviously touch on the Steve Gray incident because that was dramatic as hell. Look, just bad. Really just didn't enjoy seeing it. Everybody kicked off at it about social media about the fact that Steve Gray decides to throw the towel after being thrown out of the ring. Allowing Ritson to continue taking punishment in the 10th round. I mean, Ritson got hurt in the first round as well. Did seem to recover and was winning a couple of rounds in the middle, but slowly after that started to fade, and pretty much after sort of round 8, 9, and then eventually came into round 10 when he was getting knocked down a couple of times. That's really where you kind of want to think about pulling the fighter out, and the fact that Steve Gray pulled the towel away and threw it out of the ring, I think it was disgusting. I have no idea what my hair is like today, but we're hoping it's okay. Yeah, look, it was just disgusting. Really hope that gets looked into, as well as many other sort of officiating, refereeing decisions that have gone on past. It's just a little bit too much. I just don't enjoy seeing it. Hopefully it all gets sorted. That's all I can really say, but I don't expect anything will, so never mind. Congratulations to Matt Windle, if anybody saw my recent interview with him Fight Post. Yeah, from what I hear, haven't seen the fight, checked in on Fight Zone. I don't know what the what's called time period is until they release it as a actual video, but couldn't find it yesterday. But yeah, congratulations to Matt Windle. Has done Birmingham proud, won a Commonwealth title. One of the little guys, the first guy to do so in like 115 or 119 years or something, to hold the Commonwealth light flyweight title. So, you know, a big achievement for a British fighter. It's absolutely fantastic to see him do so well. I know he's going to be as proud as hell of this win. And what can I say? You know, he could end up fighting for a world title at this stage because of the gaps between the sort of domestic levels and the European. There isn't really that level, you know, it all kind of merges into one, and he could very well end up fighting for a world title at some point, just as a sort of voluntary defence. Don't know who he would defend his Commonwealth title against, but look, big things to come from Matt Windle. Really enjoyed talking to the guy. Lovely bloke, and just wish him all the best. You know, I hope he enjoys this win, has some time off. He's got the Commonwealth Games next year to look forward to as a Commonwealth champion, or a current Commonwealth champion. Should be very much looking forward to that and what doors that it can open up for him. And I think it's, you know, it's changed his life. A win like that, experience was key. So yeah, congratulations to him. Very much looking forward to the future of Matt Windle. Now we'll come on to Shakur Stevenson, because I don't know, I really didn't want to talk about this one because I just know it's a complete bore fest. And this is what I was saying last week, in the last week's episode, about that Shakur Stevenson needs to impress. It was exactly that fight, and I know that he's come out and said that he didn't perform to the best of his ability, but it just still wasn't enough. It seems that Shakur Stevenson is slowly building into this very boring fighter. He's unentertaining. And you hate to say it about, you know, it's hard to put it into the same sentence, but one of boxing's top prospects, top sort of young fighters, just because he is so talented. He just, you know, it's an entertainment industry, an entertainment business. He needs to start getting these stoppages against fighters who really shouldn't be going the sort of 12-round distance with him. In my opinion, I think Nakafila was one of them. So yeah, was just disappointed by Shakur Stevenson, and I think a lot of people were. What does he do next? He's talking about fighting Jamel Herring. He doesn't deserve the Jamel Herring fight off of that. Doesn't deserve the Oscar Valdez. I want to see Jamel Herring and Oscar Valdez, who have had career best wins, go and face each other. Shakur Stevenson, who can he fight? Let's have a quick look. He could fight Burchell. I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Burchell whilst we wait for the winner, because he is the WBO mandatory, so we'll eventually have to face the winner of Herring Valdez if that goes ahead. But Miguel Burchell, I think, makes good sense. Miguel Burchell might actually, you know, have enough power in both fists as well to kind of force Stevenson to kind of stick it on him. Could end up into a bit of a firefight. Tevin Farmer, Joseph Diaz, both good fights. Or Chris Colbert. Chris Colbert would be an interesting one. Very talented guy. I don't know if the stars would gel too well there, but an interesting one. But yeah, just a bit of a weird one from Shakur Stevenson. Like, haven't quite seen him. I want to say performs to the best of his ability, but we just haven't seen that next gear from him, which, you know, we all need to see at some point if we're going to consider him as, I don't want to say future world champion, but because he has been a world champion, but, you know, just want to see him as one of the top champions, I suppose, as an elite level fighter. To get to that elite level fighter business, need to see a lot more from Shakur. Just plain and simple. Right, we've got a couple of bits of news to touch on. Or at least I think we have. Yes, we have. But so we'll start off with obviously the big news about Sky Sports, because that was I think probably the biggest talking point of this week, apart from yesterday's announcement mainly. But yeah, so Sky Sports have announced a deal with Top Rank and Boxer, formerly known as Ultimate Boxer, going to be staging all of their events until 2025. Big move, but I just don't understand why Sky Sports wouldn't have picked up Josh Taylor's fight from the other week, and then they're announcing this deal. Just very annoying behaviour, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Sky Sports do, especially with the Boxer series. I feel like Top Rank is its own entity and it's on in the US time, so how far can Boxer really go? At the moment they're just kind of like one night tournaments, very similar to Prize Fighter. Whether that will change, I imagine it will, because to make up for the quality gap between what Sky Sports events has had, and no offence to Ultimate Boxer, but the events that they've put on, I feel like there just is a bit of a gap to bridge there. So I'm excited though. I love tournaments, absolutely love tournaments. Anyone remembers the World Boxing Super Series, the Super 6? Fantastic. It gave us, brilliant fights that we probably never would have seen if it wasn't for that. Bringing all the cruiserweights together in the World Boxing Super Series Season 1 was an absolutely fantastic move. So yeah, like if they can manage to get something like that, I mean, you've got the Golden Contract as well, was one that I missed out. There's plenty of opportunity for Boxer to really thrive under Sky Sports. So definitely excited to see that. Not as excited as I am to see DAZN team up with Matchroom. Definitely expect that price point of $1.99 here in the UK to change at some point soon. But yeah, next bit of news before we come on to this weekend's fights. Alexander Povetkin has formally announced his retirement from boxing at age 41. I want to say it was unexpected. I guess it's because it's been a while since Dillian Whyte defeated him, right? Actually completely forgot about that fight until this morning. Look, Povetkin, is always going to have the sort of drugs cheat label tainted over him, of course. But former WBA regular champion, was not a former world champion, because we don't consider the regular belt as a world title here. But just fought everyone. Left hook has got to go down as one of the best in the business, and I don't think he's obviously going to make the Hall of Fame, but what a fighter Alexander Povetkin was. Fought everybody, no questions asked. Look at all the Brits that he faced in recent years: Anthony Joshua, David Price, Dillian Whyte. Was going to fight Dave Allen at one point. I don't think he was really too worried about facing Dave Allen, no offence to Dave. But what a fighter he had. Carlos Takam, that fucking knockout was just absolutely sensational. Yeah, it's expected, I think, the way that the fight ended with Dillian Whyte, but like I said, I'd completely forgotten about it, so that's why it seems like it's been quite unexpected. Wish him all the best for what he does. Has given companies that I've worked for in the past lots of time, always accommodating to the media, and has given us some great fights, so thank you Alexander Povetkin. Joe Joyce could potentially be facing Carlos Takam, which is a nice little segue as we mentioned Carlos Takam. Really good fight, actually, considering it will kind of be a tick-over sort of fight. It is helping them bridge that gap from where Joe Joyce has kind of fought, keeping him at sort of world level for when he eventually does get a world title shot. We thought, obviously, that Joyce was going to face Usyk when AJ Fury was going ahead. That's no longer obviously going to happen because Anthony Joshua is going to fight Usyk. Tyson Fury is going to fight Deontay Wilder. But really like the fight between Joyce and Usyk. I don't know what Carlos Takam has got left. Has been in some great fights with people like Derek Chisora. Gave a good effort, I feel, against Anthony Joshua for the world heavyweight title. And And yeah, I think it could just be a really good opportunity for Joyce to kind of make another statement, build on top of the success from that win over Daniel Dubois. And hey, look, there's plenty of potential for Joyce to kind of just keep his name out there, keep busy, a brilliant fight to keep busy, and very much looking forward to it. According to Frank Warren, that's going to happen. I want to say late July, but I could be wrong. Yeah, going to be great. Absolutely going to be great. We obviously heard the news as well at Kirkland Lang, one of the finest British fighters to never win a world title, passed away, last week? Yeah, it's a bit of a shitter. This kind of seems to keep happening recently. I guess it's just, life goes on and things like that. These things happen. But what a fighter Kirkland Lang was. I think his victory over Roberto Duran goes down in history as one of his finest wins. A shame that it obviously wasn't for a world title, because what a fighter Roberto Duran was. So to defeat him really would have gone down in the history books as a world title win, one of the best wins for a British fighter to win a world title. But just fantastic. What a fantastic fighter. The win over Roberto Duran really that goes down in history anyway. And yeah, obviously condolences and thoughts to his friends and family. What a fighter, absolutely. Okay, so we're just going to obviously move on to this weekend's boxing, and there is actually a fair bit. We'll start off with the shit one, which is Charlo Montiel, I believe. Don't really see an upset happen here. Montiel, I feel, has just been perfectly picked. Although I said this last week about RITSON-PONCE, so who knows. But I just don't know. I would really like to see Jermell Charlo face someone like Chris Eubank Jr. Just because I think it would be so much fun. It made so much sense when they were both with PBC. That fight didn't obviously get made. Fight Andrade maybe. But yeah, so he's going to fight Montiel, WBC middleweight title. I think Charlo is, well, both of the Charlo brothers really, but Jamel more than Jamal, who is fighting this weekend. Jamel was coming on really strong in these last few fights, and I'm pretty sure Jamal wants to be doing the same. Wants to keep getting these wins and start looking impressive. Looked really impressive against Derevianchenko last time out. I see a sort of stoppage before the midway point, before round 6. I just see Charlo getting to Montiel. Just has that power, has the speed. Very talented fighter, the Charlos are. And Montiel just looked a little bit fragile in the past. Hasn't looked his best. Hasn't looked his best recently. Had that draw with Hugo Sanchonio Jr. Who I think he fought Charlo, didn't he, at some point, and he got stopped in 2 rounds. I think last time out Montiel had that win over James Kirkland, which, was a bit of a farce. Kirkland should not be in a ring ever again. Just did not look right whatsoever. So yeah, I think Charlo before the midway point, and then I want to see him in a good fight. Even Golovkin. Love to see him against Golovkin, but I feel like everybody's targeting Golovkin at the moment, so kind of trying to not put everyone in the same boat. Teofimo Lopez versus George Kambosos Jr. is also this weekend. Brilliant fight. Been looking forward to it for a very long time. It's going to take place on Triller, I think. So, really hoping that they don't have all the sort of live shows and everything. Look, not that I'm against boxing shows trying something a little bit different, but I did just feel it was kind of taken away from what you were actually there to watch. it was great to see at first the Black Keys playing at the last event that they did, but then after the third or fourth different act, I was kind of like, where's the boxing? So I'm hoping it's going to be a really good event. And you got Michael Hunter back in action against Mike Wilson after not agreeing to face Hrgovic, presumably because money. Probably gets more money to fight Mike Wilson than he does on Triller than he does against Filip Hrgovic on DAZN. Fair enough. I probably would do the same. But Lopez versus Kambosos. Sorry. I know George is really up for this. I think he's going to be firing on all cylinders leading up to it, and I think he's going to give it a really, really strong effort. I do expect the fight to catch a light. I know Lopez potentially doesn't seem like he's taking it seriously and looking ahead to bigger and better. Josh Taylor, he's called for that fight. I just think it's the confidence coming off the Lomachenko win, the power that Lopez possesses, as well as the full arsenal that we saw against Lomachenko. The jab is just so strong of Lopez, something that I don't really feel like was talked about too much leading up to the Lomachenko fight, because he was knocking every guy out. Richard Commey knocked him out in a round or two, right? I just think it's a little too soon for Kambosos, and I hate saying that because Kambosos is just he's gotten into that quartet of young American fighters. Looked good against Lee Selby, but Lee Selby was, a faded fighter, not what he once was, as well as, 2 weight classes above what his prime weight was. But very excited to see the fight. Absolutely would not write off Kambosos, as a lot of people are. Lopez, just one of the pound for pound best fighters, and I think he'll, potentially stop Kambosos late on. Or you could see it go to points. Not too sure what to make of Kambosos, to be perfectly honest. I think, like I said, he looked very impressive against Lee Selby, but Lee Selby, a faded fighter. Is he going to be able to, dig it out? Will Lopez be able to catch him? Slippery little fucker Kambosos is. So, yeah, just looking forward to it. I think Lopez gets a stoppage this weekend, though. And finally, we've got Naoya Inoue, who is finally back to action against somebody. Michael Dasmarinas. Look, I'm just excited to see Inoue back. It is kind of annoying that it is on Sky Sports, which kind of pains me to say, just because it's going to be a bit difficult for me to watch. Really should get like a Sky Go account or something like that. But yeah, it's great to see Inoue back in the ring, keeping active. He really wants to eye up that Casemiro fight as the unification, or now Nonito Donaire. The rematch, I think, would be fantastic. So I expect him to get Dasmarinas out there quickly, show that he means business. The monster is, a monster. Absolutely, I expect him to put on a really good performance this weekend, just like last time out. Keeps on improving, looks brilliant every single time. Had to dig deep against Nonito Donaire, but one of the best bantamweights in the world, unified world champion. We'll do the business this weekend, and then hopefully we'll get to see all the belts come together, whether it'll be Inoue versus Casemiro, or Inoue versus Donaire, or Donaire Casemiro, or Rigondo. Rigondo is actually fighting Casemiro, isn't he? So plenty of opportunities for what could happen. But yeah, would love to see Inoue fight this and fight Donaire again. I think that's the top of my wish list, because it was just a brilliant fight. So yeah, I would imagine that it would be over quite early, actually. I think anything in the sort of early rounds, I want to say. Rounds 1 to 3, I might have a look at that for a good bit. Where does he go? Knocked out Hiram Guerfi in 4 rounds, who Lee McGregor knocked out in 1. Dasmarinas. Really should start researching these fighters a little bit before, but there's nothing really on paper that makes me think Dasmarinas stands much of a chance against Inoue. Inoue hits so fucking hard. So, yeah, I think you're seeing a new early stoppage. That's my final prediction. And that's everything for this week's Two Furs Boxing Show, episode 9. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you're on YouTube, please be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Really appreciate all of that. Obviously, if you're watching on Facebook, leave me a like, share it around. Absolutely love the viewing platform that Facebook is providing for this and the Avengers Reserve podcast. And thank you to all the Spotify listeners. It's been great. I'm going to bugger off now because today is 28-degree heat. So I'm going to go and enjoy the weather as much as I can. And yeah, thank you all for watching or for listening, and I'll see you next week.